Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Lisa and today I'm going to be closing out for my second paycheck in March. I'm using the Budget Mom's Budget by Paycheck workbook. I have a form that I created myself to help me close out each paycheck. So this form is available for free. I've got a link down in my description box to my Google Drive. And I do plan on removing all the categories from the one that you guys are downloading. That way you can write your own categories. So let's go ahead and get started. So I have already totaled up everything that I spent. So I have one expense tracker for my cash and one for my checking account. I use the highlighter method, which is what the Budget Mom recommends. And so as I'm tracking my expenses throughout the paycheck, I'm giving each expenditure a category, and then whatever the category is, I have a highlighter color that I have assigned to that category. So I have gone through and I've already tracked my spending and I've totaled everything up. So let's go ahead and just talk about how much cash I spent and then how much I spent out of my checking account. So I started the month with, or this paycheck rather, with $1,543 in cash. So that is a combination of my cash envelopes and sinking funds. Throughout the last 2 weeks, I spent $319 on food. I saved $188 from my cash. I used $30 of my spending money. I spent $369 on gifts. I have twins. They turned 28 on the 21st of March, and we had, I bought steaks. We had a potato bar. We bought a grill to grill them on because our grill was terrible. The grill is over here in the checking account. What else did we have? We had homemade macaroni and cheese. We just all hung out as a family. It was so fun. But I did spend a lot of money this time around on gifts. In cash was $369. Fur babies, I spent $37. Household, I spent $31. And then on housing, I spent $150 for the cleaning lady. So this is something that comes out of our joint checking account, but I hadn't gone to the bank, so I did reimburse myself for that expense. So in total, in cash, I spent $1,124. And I ended this paycheck with a total of $1,700 in sinking funds and $119 in cash envelopes. Then for my checking tracker, I spent $36.99 on subscriptions. I spent $36 on food. Personal spending was $55.60. Gifts, I spent $298.94, and that was a combination of the grill, and then I also shipped 2 crocheted blankets to my friend and bought some yarn to make another blanket for my friend AJ. And so that was a total of $298.94. I had a miscellaneous expense of $1.10, which was to the postal service for forwarding my mail. So I had that expense. For YouTube, I spent $9.83, and housing was $786. So that is a total of $1,224.46 that I spent. So a lot of money spent this time around. And I forgot to mention, I started with a checking account balance of $277.24, and I'm ending with $5.94. So let's talk about the closeout. So what I did is I took all of these totals and I added all of them up, and I added them onto a piece of paper. And we're gonna see how much I actually ended up with. Now I will say food and household, I am separating it on the totals, but it is one grand total, so keep that in mind. So that's what, this is what I have in my trackers. The amounts that I added is where these totals came from. So let's go ahead and zoom in a bit. All right. Okay, so again, this tracker you can get for free down in the description box. So I had a starting balance of $1,820. That is a combination of sinking funds, cash envelopes, and my checking account. I had a total income of $2,353.13, and that was a combination of my normal paycheck, my daughter giving me money for groceries, money that my mom gave me, just any money that came into my cash envelopes or my checking account, anything that was deposited is accounted for here. So my total income is $4,173.13. Then we have the first category, which is groceries. So this is practically anything you could buy at Walmart except for what I need for my fur baby. So it's food, household, it's paper products, cleaning supplies, all that kind of stuff. So I usually budget $200, so $100 a week. But my daughter gave me $220. So I added my $200 budget plus the $220 that she gave me for the budget column, so that it wouldn't skew my numbers when I have, an inflated amount that I spent. So the total spent was $86. Which is a difference of 34, so I was under budget, and 386 divided by 4,173.13 made, that came out to 9% of my income. Then we have fur babies. I budgeted $50, I spent $37, so that is a difference of 13, under budget there as well. And that is less than 1% of my total income, so 0.8%. And then fur babies, this category is just for food and litter. Okay, then we have housing, and I had $786 budgeted, but I went over because of the expense for the cleaning lady, which was $150. So that bumped me up to $936, which is a difference of $150, which is fine. And then that is 22% of my income towards housing. So this $786, if you're new here, my daughter and I bought a house together. We have a joint checking and a joint savings. So every time I get paid, I put $93 into our savings account, and then the rest of it goes into the checking. And she contributes as well, where we contribute 50-50. And then all of the household expenses, like our utilities, our house payment, all of that good stuff, pest control, HOA, all of that comes out of that joint account. This is just my contribution. It's a completely separate budget. So that was 22% of my income was to housing. Then we have subscriptions. I budgeted $36 for Netflix and my Google storage, but what I actually spent was $36.99. It's a difference of 99 cents, so a little bit over budget, and that comes out to 0.8% of my total income, which is less than 1%. Then we have my car. I budgeted $20 for gas. I didn't end up spending not a penny of it. So I still had $20 left over, so that was 0%. Then we have my fun money. I budgeted $50, but what I actually spent was $85.60. So I was over budget by $35.60, and the $85.60 came out to 2% of my income. Then we have savings. I budgeted $408, but I only ended up saving $188. And the reason for that is because I got a bonus with my first paycheck in March. When my bonus was paid out, it automatically made my Roth IRA contribution. So I had to stop the contribution from this paycheck because I have it, the amount that I'm putting in every 2 weeks equals the maximum that I am allowed to contribute per year, which is $8,000 because I'm 50 years old. So had I contributed the $308 to my Roth IRA, then at the end of the year, I'm going to be over. So I had to stop the contribution for this paycheck only, and then I turned it back on for the next one. But that's why my savings was really low this time. So I was under 220, which is a bad thing because we always want to save more. That's why this is not in green. And so that was only 5% of my income, which is kind of a bummer. All right, next we have gifts, and I had $500 budgeted for gifts. I was over budget. I spent $667.94, so I was over by $117.94, which is, not terrible. So that worked up to be 16% of my income went towards gifts, which is a lot. I usually don't spend that much money on gifts. It's usually just $50 for a birthday, but we ended up we had a blast. We really had a good time. We had 12 people here. Oh, excuse me. And we all had steaks. It was fantastic. Next is my health category. I didn't have anything budgeted, and I didn't spend anything. Then we have YouTube. I didn't have anything budgeted, but I did spend $9.83. Of course, I was over, and that was 0.2%. So a negligible amount of my income went to a YouTube expense. Then we have home decor. I didn't budget anything, and I didn't spend anything, which is good. Vacation, same thing. Didn't budget anything, didn't spend anything. Same thing with beauty, nothing budgeted, nothing spent. And then miscellaneous, I spent the $1.10 for the forwarding order. It was just to extend it because it was from not the last place we lived, but the place before. And that was $1.10. And that's less than 0.01%. So that was just zero. Okay, so then my rollover, what I am rolling over to the next paycheck is $1,824.94. So this is a combination of what's in my checking account, what I have in my cash envelopes, and what I have in my sinking funds. And that's 44%, which is pretty good. So let's talk about my totals. So I had total income that I calculated of $4,173.13. I spent $2,348.46. Let's move this up a bit. I'm rolling over $1,824.94, which means I'm only off by 27 cents, which is pretty awesome. It's the first time I think I have been so close to being like in balance to the penny. So that is the breakdown for my second paycheck in March. But let me tell you that my first paycheck in March, I was over by, I don't know, I think it was $70, $80, something like that. And I went back and I figured out what it was. The first thing was my starting balance wasn't right. So the corrected starting balance was $1,448.20. And the second thing was that I was missing money that I spent for my fur babies. It was $282. So that only put me off by $3.80, which is a lot better than the 70, 80, 90. I can't remember how much it was that I was off. I should have kept those numbers here, what the before versus the after is, but I did figure out what I did. And because I rounded everything up, whereas on this breakdown for paycheck number 2, I counted all the change that I spent in my checking account. So that's why I was so close. But $3.80 off is fine. I'm okay with that. I am not going to try to figure out what that is. I feel like I double checked everything and I'm pretty certain that I'm good. So yeah, that is everything for this breakdown. Next, I will do a monthly closeout and add everything up, see how much I spent for the month, what did I have budgeted, and the percent of my income. So that is everything for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for supporting my channel, and I hope you guys have a great day or night wherever you're at. Bye.